Right now it's time for that time when we talk to our special guest. Tonight's special guest is Donna White. Donna is here tonight to tell us about her brand new show, Healthy Living at the Viaduct Centre in November. Donna is no stranger to shows of this nature as CEO and founder of Northport Events, with shows such as The Food Show and The Baby Show. We welcome Donna White as our special guest on The Beat Goes On. Donna White, welcome to The Beat Goes On.
Thank you. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
And it's wonderful to have you here today. And we noticed that your name is spelt with one N, D-O-N-A. Now that's, why would that be?
I wondered, I think it's because I'm from California and it's the Dona, the Spanish interpretation of Donna. Yeah. So that's what I've assumed. I asked my mom about that once and she said it wasn't quite true, but I think it was just a mom trying to have a different name spelling for her daughter.
My daughter's a bit different.
Yeah.
California girls, we grew up as baby boomers and we listened to the Beach Boys singing, "The East Coast girls are hip," but it's the California girls were the best in the world. Was that true? Were California girls the best?
Well, we thought so. But I grew up in a place called Redondo Beach, California, so very much the surf lifestyle. Yeah. We didn't surf. We followed the boys around who surfed, and but it was definitely the blonde-haired, blue-eyed boys and the girls in bikinis and riding our bikes on the bike path from Redondo to Santa Monica, ditching school and doing that all summer. Fantastic.
Sounds glamorous and romantic, and we all dreamed of that lifestyle, the California lifestyle.
It was a beautiful lifestyle, I have to say.
And did you follow the Beach Boys around, or did you remember them?
I loved the Beach Boys. They were part of my repertoire. Led Zeppelin. I'm trying to think of all the music of that day, but yeah, the Beach Boys, quintessential California sound.
Now, that leads to ask this very personal question. What year were you doing all this? So what year were you born?
I was born in 1959, so 59. I think I am a baby boomer. I just
scraped in as a baby boomer. Yeah. Well, so you were born in 1959.
Yes, I'm comfortably a baby boomer in America.
Big question is, how did Donna leave America, California, the great lifestyle, and end up in little old New Zealand? How did that all happen?
Well, I was working in a place called Verbier in Switzerland. My mother lived in Geneva. She worked for the United Nations there. And I would visit her from time to time. And I went up to the snow to be a bartender at a five-star resort in Verbier. And I met my husband. He was a ski bum and teaching skiing illegally. I had a real job. I had a paid permit. Yeah. So we did 3 seasons in Verbier.
And he was a Kiwi, of course.
Kiwi. Lots of Kiwis and Aussies went to Verbier during that time. And
had you heard of New Zealand or Kiwis much before you got to Switzerland and went up to the ski fields?
Well, luckily I'd met my first New Zealander in Corfu when I was traveling, and I'll never forget this. Her name is Maria Bohr, and she was a Maori girl, and I'll never forget being so surprised she spoke English. That's how ignorant we were. So I had a little experience. So Aussies and Kiwis were really dominant in Verbier at the time I was there, so I very quickly learned the different accents.
The lingo.
Yeah.
So then, of course, you met Gavin, and he persuaded you to come to live in New Zealand.
Yes, we had a year in California of surfing and windsurfing, and I was going to finish my degree at university. I had a year to go, and as it happened, I never did because it was so much fun to windsurf and surf. So we had 1 year there, and we came back to New Zealand in December of 1985, and I connected instantly with New Zealand. Yeah, I just did.
What did you connect with? That's very interesting. What was it about this country that you loved?
It just seemed so full of opportunity, and I really loved the population. I got the size. But you see, I was coming from California in the days where our deli culture, our food culture it was kind of well underway, but you know, you would go to your local deli and get a pastrami on rye, and the pastrami would be this big and the cheese would be that big, and they'd sandwich it in a few pickles and onions. Wow. And when I came to New Zealand, Gavin took me around the country, and we'd go into these little bakery things along the road, and you'd have a ham sandwich you'd buy in one of those little things, and it would come out with the bread, this much butter, and 1 piece of ham. And I remember that being my first thought was like, oh my gosh, I could really do something in the food. I thought that's what I would do, something in the food industry to, teach them what a good sandwich was. But, that was it. And then driving around and just, the whole time I've been in New Zealand, New Zealand's been very good to me.
Obviously, your mind started ticking over about how you could start a business. And in 1993, wasn't many years later, you began your first event or exhibition. Let's just pause here and think about it. It's a daunting task because you've got your clients which exhibit, and you've got the people that have to come to the show. Yes. and you have to make it successful. So did you ever, any nerves of it? Tell us how you got the first show, and it was called the
Parent and Child Show.
The Parent Child Show.
I sort of think I was like a lot of mothers. Mothers, when you have a baby, you're trying to juggle that work thing, you know, to make the household equation work financially, to work and to keep your career going, and also to be the best mother you can. And I don't know any mother who doesn't wrestle with that exact thing. I had been working for an exhibition company doing the hospitality trade show, and I understood the concept. Have a bunch of stuff in one place that a bunch of people want to see in one place, and that's how exhibitions are.
So that's where you got the experience. You were working in the industry, but then you said, I can do this. And you may have thought to yourself, I could do it better.
Yeah, and I thought, oh, there should be something for moms, you know, and dads, where they can find all the stuff that they would want to have when a baby's born, you know, all the information you want to learn about, immunization, toilet training, breastfeeding. I thought about that, and I thought about all the products. So it was perfect timing to set up an exhibition, and it went really well.
And then you developed the food show. Now, this is your love of food.
Yeah,
and
the sandwich.
And the food show is enormous, isn't it? It's an enormous show.
Yeah, and that was in 2000. It was another interest, and I was like, oh, you know, there should be I always thought the food show was going to be very small, niche, gourmet, kind of following along. Cuisine was, you know, rising, and I thought, oh, there'll be a nice show for this, but keep it real intimate, keep it small, keep it high end.
Well, that didn't happen, did
no,
it?
it ended,
grew like
yes. But I still think, you know, for the food show, we do tend to have the medium to small businesses versus the big multinationals. So we have a really nice artisan feel to the food show. And so now we have about 300 companies who exhibit in Auckland, and maybe about 35,000 people that attend. Christchurch is on next week, and Christchurch will have about 100 exhibitors and about 10,000 people come. Wellington has about 200 exhibitors, and we get around 20,000. So it's big.
Now, all this is happening, and you're so busy, and you're working away. When did you suddenly look up and say, I'm successful? When did that happen? And tell us about that day.
Just last week, no. Well, I think, you know, this year has been really pivotal for us. We've moved premises. We have some fairly grown-up premises now in Auckland City, and we have about 12 people working for us. We have a general manager, and sometimes I look around and I think, oh my gosh, you know, all these people belong to us. Also, when I'm at a show and you realize all the contractors, all the exhibitors, all their people, hundreds of people setting up. And
all depending on you.
Yeah, and Gavin looked at me one day and said, isn't it weird to think all these people are here because of this thing we're putting on? And the responsibility of it, you know, it's quite it's an amazing thing.
Now here you are, you come to New Zealand in 1985, and there were people here in 1985 bemoaning the fact that there were no opportunities in New Zealand. And they spent the rest of their lives bemoaning the fact that they were never given an opportunity. You arrive in the country in 1985 and immediately see an opportunity. So what does that say about people who are always seeing the negative and there's...
Yeah, well sometimes when you come from somewhere else, you can see things that people can't see. And I also think that I've always wanted something out of life. You know, I really believe that, you know, I ask for what I want, and I detail it out, and I have a vision for what I want my life to look like. And I was a young mother, and I had young children with me. I wanted to be a good mom, but I also wanted to have an income and have a profession and you know, have abundance in my life. And so I went for it. And
when you say you asked for what you want, who did you ask?
Oh, I'd probably ask the universe. You know, I don't ask anyone. I just say, "Come on, I want this." You know, yeah. It's not any particular person, or it's not God or anything like that. No.
So, and I also heard you use the word abundance. There is an abundance of the universe, isn't there? That's
I believe
one of the
that.
mantras.
I am a complete believer in that.
Believer in abundance.
Yes.
If you think there's a scarcity, that will shape your life.
Yeah, I expect an abundance.
Now, Donna, you're here today because of your brand new show that's coming up, and we've talked about everything else but your brand new show, and you're here today because health guru Kennedy Garland, he's told us about your wonderful show on the 2nd to the 4th of November at the Viaduct Event Centre, and it's called Healthy Living. Obviously, you're thinking that out there's a lot of people thinking about health.
Yeah, and I think it is a powerful trend of our 21st century right now, and it is topical that people are caring more about their health, maybe taking responsibility, but it's translating over into the mind, the body, and to the planet. And it's something I'm interested in. I guess that's every show that I've ever started has been about something that I'm interested in.
Something you've been interested in,
yeah,
isn't it?
And I'm interested in it. I'm interested in, it doesn't mean that I live the most perfectly healthy life. You know, like I do fluctuate between regular juicing and green smoothies and yoga and daily fitness to partying up a storm and shooting tequila, you know. So I don't think I live the most authentic.
You're not a depressing greenie about your health.
No. I'm just fascinated by that. And I'm fascinated probably the older I get. I'm fascinated, and I believe that I have a picture of who I want to be when I'm old. And that person is a young, old person. And I have lots of role models in my family of people that are like that. And so I want to be healthy, and so I'm interested in all the new products that are coming out and all the things that we can do as individuals to take responsibility for our health.
The Viaduct Event Centre.
The Viaduct Event Centre is actually, it's brand new, it's a lovely venue, but it's very small in terms of an exhibition. So we have 2,500 square meter footprint for the exhibition, whereas a show like the food show will be sitting in a 10,000 square meter at the ASB Showgrounds. So we only have room for 100 companies, so we were handpicking really groovy, cutting edge, you know, exhibitors to be in this show. And then I just went out and I sourced who I thought would be the most amazing person for the mind component of the show. And since Bob Proctor has been a real guru of mine, and I've read probably every book he's ever written, and
Can I just interrupt and say I'm a great fan too. Bob Proctor. Wow.
Yes, he is amazing. His philosophy is so great. His book, It's Not About the Money, I gave it to all my family at Christmas because I think it's fascinating concepts. Couldn't believe that I got to him, you know, like I write to people all the time for the food show, you know, and we're always so surprised when you hear back from these people. And so when they came back and said, yeah, well, this sounds good, we haven't been down there in a while, and you know, and so I'm really thrilled about that.
No, I've watched Bob Proctor's videos, and I'm just so impressed with the man. He's just wonderful. Now, it's we're running out of time. Donna, we could go on for about another 2 hours. But just tell me, it's the 4th of November, the show is just finishing, and you're seeing many hundreds of thousands of people, satisfied people leaving the show. What are you going to be feeling? This is your inaugural, the very first ever Healthy Living show.
I'm going to feel really proud. I can feel myself. I already feel pretty proud. I put the whole program together. I sourced all the speakers and did that. And I did say to my husband last night, I said, I'm pretty proud of this program. It's really, it's got a lot of depth and it's got something for everybody. Do you know, like it's got a lot of mind technique and tools. It's got a lot of nutrition. It's got a lot of love. It's got a lot of meditation. We've got panel discussions on Sunday on the planet, on law of attraction, on diet, and one on cancer, disease prevention and cure with mainstream and medical perspective. And so I think it's kind of a groovy show. I think it's going to be a game changer.
Donna, thank you for coming in today.
Pleasure.
Absolutely wonderful. Get to the show. It's on the 2nd, the 4th of November, and we'll see you after the break.